I never was a super duper athletic kid growing up. I remember in PE class, I never intentionally sat out whenever we played games on like kickball or if you played mat ball and stuff like that. Like I never was one of those kids that sat out and watched people play the game and just like talk with our friends and whatever. I wasn't that sort of like um lazy kid. But I was one of those kids that he tried really hard to, do well and have fun, but it always was kind of soured by this experience of, maybe I didn't get to the base fast enough, or I'd get tired really fast, or, I wasn't agile enough to dodge the ball when some kid just like absolutely just absolutely flung it at me, dude. Wasn't able to like dodge it or whatever. And yeah, I just remember having those memories of not being the most athletic kid. I remember in PE class, whenever we do like the mile test, I would just be absolutely gassed. I think back in the day, I ran like a 9 or 10 minute mile, and I was like really, really trying. Like I was trying. Like obviously, you had some kids who were like walking it, and they'd get like they were speed walking it, and they get like 11 minutes or whatever. But I was actually trying to run and I still got like 9, 10 minutes. That's embarrassing, dude. It was really bad. And yeah, that's kind of just my my experience growing up. I never was the best athlete. But as I got older, I just started to train more and more, and I started becoming just a better athlete in general. But along with that, I started looking into my diet because all throughout, growing up, I was eating like relatively clean, like okay, clean stuff, but I'd still have some sugary stuff here, some of this there, some like just like not great food. And as I've gone through my life now, I've kind of just been modifying my diet again and again and again, just experimenting with it to see what works for me along as I've trained and become a better athlete. And I've landed at this point now to where I actually don't have any carbs in my diet, like zero carbohydrates and also no plants, but that's another point. And I think that along with my training, obviously, I think my diet has also tremendously helped me become a better athlete. And so that's what I'm going to share with you in this video today. But yeah, my name's Keegan. I talk about diet and fitness stuff if you didn't already tell. But yeah, if you want to support me, then you should go subscribe and do all that YouTube jazz. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, why I'm a better athlete with zero carbs. So the first reason really is just I've found that I don't really have as many problems with my diet just in general now that I don't have any carbohydrates. I had a lot of kind of um like side effects from carbs, I guess, just kind of like downsides from eating carbohydrates. And that was my energy was whack. I overate the carbs, so I it was pretty easy for me to gain like body fat and weight with that. But really, like it was like the energy and the mental clarity were were the two biggest factors that I think really limited me athletically. Because imagine I don't know, you're like playing soccer or like just some sport like baseball or even football, right? And your brain doesn't work as well. Like, are you gonna make a good play doing that? Probably not. Are you going to be, like as intentional, or are you going to be able to push yourself as hard as if you can't like really like think clearly, or your energy is really low? Like for me, those were things that held me back in training, in games, in just general day-to-day life. And so whenever I removed the carbs and those things for the most part went away, then I actually became a better athlete because of that. And it's just like it just removed limitations from my athletic experience and therefore made me a better athlete, which I really enjoy the benefits of now. Like, unless I'm dehydrated and I've had like a bad night of sleep, I very rarely get brain fog anymore. And it's such a nice feeling that I almost take it for granted now, because it's just kind of like the day-to-day experience now. Whenever back in the day, it was kind of like, whoa, like I can actually think now. Or back whenever I was even like transitioning into this and I was becoming a little bit more aware of how foods affected me, it was such a pain to kind of lose that brain fog, like feeling that brain fog, like, ugh, this doesn't feel good. But just thinking back, like, oh, that's what that was. Whenever my energy was low, whenever I couldn't think straight for this game, whenever I had a headache, whenever I had this and that, like that doesn't happen nearly as often anymore. And I'm really appreciative of that. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I am a better athlete on no carbohydrates. Beyond that, it's just I feel like I also recover better. And I think whenever it comes to athletic training and whatnot, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is like how much volume you can handle and how much intensity you can handle and how well you can recover from that. That's my kind of like basic bro science understanding of, exercise and becoming an athlete. It's like, how hard can you work? How much of it can you do? And then can you recover from that and get like the adaptations, like, I don't know, like a lower resting heart rate, or, your heartbeat, your heart is stronger, or your muscles are stronger or bigger, or, you're faster, whatever. Like the stimulus is kind of like the exercise, right? And then you recover and you get the adaptation to do that thing better. Does that make sense? That's my bro science understanding. And I found that, not having any carbs, even not having any plants on like a carnivore diet has actually really, really helped me recover better. Obviously, there's some nuance to that. Like, it's not a magical thing that makes me, a bazillion times better at recovering. Obviously, I still need to sleep correctly, drink enough water, not overtrain, etc., etc. Like, obviously, there's nuance to that, but I've just found that in general, my recovery has been better. And that could be just because I'm eating a lot more protein, because I'm just not eating carbs. So, like, the only other things you can really eat is protein and fat. So, protein intake's probably going to go up to a significant level. And it could also be like I'm just health conscious. Like, there is healthy user bias in that now, where it's like I am trying to get more sleep along with all this other stuff, being a better athlete. So that could affect it too. But I found just in general, my sleep has been getting better. My recovery in general has been better. And my capacity for work has increased. So I actually remember this one time I was at the soccer practice, and this freshman, so I'm a senior in high school. So I am older. I do think I can handle more just in general. But this freshman behind me, he's like, because we're playing this soccer like small sided game thing, and it's really fast paced. So you're kind of like back and forth, back and forth. And I'm chilling. I'm like not tired. I'm like in like zone 2 cardio, just kind of like chilling. And this freshman, he's like standing behind me trying to guard me, and he's like, "How do you have so much cardio?" And he's like panting. And I just think back to that as like, man, maybe this diet thing actually just helps a lot, and I just don't realize it. And obviously, I think it does matter along with the training part. Like I do have more conditioning just in general, but I think it has helped me increase my capacity, increase my recovery, and yeah, that's another reason why I don't have any carbs as an athlete. But I think overall, the reason why I don't have any carbs, the reason why I think I'm a better athlete because of it, is subjectively, I just feel great pretty much like 80 to 90% of the time. Again, unless I get like a bad night of sleep, right? But that happens to everyone. And I think that's the biggest factor is like feel good, play good. That's sort of the thing. Feel good, train hard, that sort of thing. But since I feel good more often than not, it's a lot easier for me to be a better athlete, in my opinion. Like I was saying before, it's kind of hard to train hard to play well whenever you feel like crap. And I get there is some level of discipline, like do it anyways. But even if you're like if you're sleep deprived, if you're tired, or if you're like if your energy is kind of whack because you have like a sugar high and then a crash because you didn't time like the pre-workout carbs correctly or whatever, then you're probably not going to perform as well. Like that's what happened to me all of the time. I would try and have these like pre-workout carbs or whatever, and my workouts would be dragging all of the time. Even though I would have like the pre-workout, it's just like it was a sugar high and then it would just crash down really quickly, as I was going through the workout, before the workout, and even if I somehow timed it correctly, after the workout was miserable. And that doesn't happen anymore because I don't have like fluctuations in energy anymore. And yeah, and objectively, I have this Whoop thing on, and objectively, I'd say I'm doing pretty well. Obviously, there's some things that I can fix that I've been looking at in my data, but objectively, I've been doing pretty good. And I enjoy that a lot. So yeah, but anyways, those are the reasons why that I think I'm a better athlete on zero carbs, and that's why I would encourage you, if you are an athlete, to try it out, to try just removing carbs from your diet for a month or even a couple weeks and just see what happens. Because I think it's less about what it I think it, overall it's less about what it increases, and I think it's more about what it decreases. Because I found by removing carbs, I also removed kind of the downsides from those things, and therefore I was able to do more. If that makes sense, and so that's why I would encourage other people to try it, because if you're just kind of like bogged down by the food that you eat, then if you remove that food and you remove that limitation, who knows how good you could be, right? Like you've probably seen those people who are like freakishly athletic and they still eat a bunch of junk food, and you probably have that imagination, that thought of like, I wonder what they'd be like if they actually like took this diet thing seriously and they ate right. Imagine how much better they would be, right? But imagine that for yourself, right? I think that this is the way to go, in my opinion. Like in my opinion, I think it's the way to go. So I would give it a shot. Just try it out, see how it goes. Worst case scenario, I'd say just remove junk food from your life and you'll probably be a better athlete. That's what I've done. And even before I removed all of the junk food, I still felt like, sorry, even before I removed all the carbs, removing the junk food was definitely a big level up in just my overall experience of life. But I've gone to the far extreme, and I would want to encourage other people to at least try it out. If you find it doesn't work for you, your energy's kind of whack, you just feel better whenever you do eat carbs, like, okay, fine. But I just say at least try it out and see how it goes. So yeah, if you like what I'm saying, then you should go subscribe. Obviously, go experiment on your diet, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.